We're back here at Circa Resort and Casino. It's the Jake Asman Show, megacast. The pick is officially in for the Tennessee Titans. They have selected J.C. Latham. The Atlanta Falcons pick is also in, meaning the Jets did not trade up to potentially get one of the wide receivers. So after we find out the Falcons pick, Bears are there at 9, Jets up at 10. And joining us right now to celebrate night one of the NFL draft is one of the greatest New York Jets ever, one of the best Jets draft picks of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Mangold. What's up, Nick?
How we doing, Jake?
Nick, I mean, we're in Vegas. The Jets are up at 2 picks. I'm a little nervous. How are you doing?
I think I'd rather be in Vegas. I'll tell you that much. It sounds like a lot more fun than sitting here in Jersey.
Well, let me ask you this, Nick, because obviously when the Jets acquired you in the draft back in 2006, it was very unique because they had to trade up to make that happen. So kind of take us back to what you remember draft night or I guess it was still during the day when you were a player, of course. Take us back to that 2006 NFL draft that you were a part of.
Yeah, it was a wild time. I joke all the time. I actually missed the beginning of the draft because I thought it started at 1 and it started at noon. So I was on the golf course when it started. And my mom called me and was like, hey, the draft started. Like, oops. So we finished the round. I don't think I did that well, but got home and then had to sit there and wait it out and really had no idea what was going to happen. And, when it did happen, when I got the call, it was crazy. It was a big whirlwind. You talked to Eric Mangini, you talked to Mike Tannenbaum, and it was awesome. It was a really neat experience. And so since I missed the beginning of the draft, I had no idea that Jabrickashaw Ferguson was drafted at number 4 before me. So I didn't find out till like Monday that we were teammates.
That's unbelievable. So you were just unaware, you were just completely oblivious that they took another lineman with the top pick that year?
Yeah, no idea. I was on the golf course, and so I didn't get home until I think the number 6 pick. And it was such a whirlwind for me. It was like I was drafted. It was like, this is awesome. We're really excited. And then it didn't even dawn on me to look to see who else was drafted or, if there were other picks throughout the day. And so it was pretty neat being like, oh, wait, I know that guy. Like, that's pretty cool that we get to be on the team together.
How nervous were you on draft day, Nick? Like, take us back through like some of your emotions kind of going through the process. I mean, you had to wait till towards the end of the first round. I mean, at what point did you think, oh my God, am I going to be a first round pick?
No, I really wasn't that worried about it because when I first came out, right after college, it was projected as like a mid-3rd round. And so that was kind of where my head was at. And then, had a pretty decent combine and Senior Bowl and moved up on some of the boards. So it was really just, we're just sitting and waiting because I had no idea. It was really a crapshoot. I had no feeling either way of any leanings in any way. And it was just kind of, we're sitting, we're hanging out, and at some point someone's going to call me and it's going to be really cool.
That's awesome. So what do you remember about, your first visit to the facility after you were drafted? Kind of take us through what the next couple of days are like after you get drafted into the NFL.
Yeah, so our rookie minicamp was the 2 weeks late. So most rookie minicamps are the week after the draft. And ours, for some reason, was the second week. So I was just kind of chilling. And then I fly up to New York, and I landed. And this is when the facility was still in Hofstra. And so I remember driving out on the LIE. I was like, well, where's all the tall buildings? And where's, the city? I was like, this place is nowhere. Like, I have no idea where I am. So that was definitely kind of messing with the mind. It was like, I don't know if I'm in the right spot. Maybe I flew to the wrong area.
That's unbelievable. Here's the Falcons pick. Whoa! Our huge first major surprise of the NFL draft. The Falcons, who just paid Kirk Cousins an enormous amount of money, are selecting a quarterback here, Nick, with the number 8 pick. This is a big, big surprise, Nick Mangold.
It is, but I do appreciate, what they're thinking here. How long does Kirk Cousins have? You get a chance to get a guy that you really like at quarterback, and he can sit and he can learn a little bit and let him develop. I think that's a wise move if they really do like him, and I think that's where it puts a lot of onus on the GM. Like, hey, you might really like this guy to know that you just paid another guy a bunch of money, so you're wasting. You're not wasting, but you're taking your first round pick. You're going to sit him on the bench for 2 years. So that's dangerous game to play.
It's wild to fathom because talking about the draft for months leading up, you talk about similar storylines, and everyone's got a mock draft. Nick, I don't think I saw a single mock draft, and I'm addicted to mock drafts. I don't think I saw a single mock draft that had Michael Penix Jr. at 8. So it just shows you how worthless they really are. Because here we go, rip up your mock draft. Penix at 8. It doesn't mean anything now.
Yeah, and now everyone. I thought it was going to happen earlier. I was intrigued. I thought maybe the Chargers might trade out and they really mess with everybody. But now, I mean, it's sealed the deal that everyone's mock draft or they're all done, and we can get about and have a little fun with it.
So here are the Jets' options, Nick. They're up, obviously, in 2 picks or 1 pick here. The Bears are on at 9. The Jets have been kind of going back and forth. The fan base, wide receiver, offensive line, tight end Brock Bowers. If you were Joe Douglas, do you have a preference on what you would do with this number 10 pick?
It's difficult because you got to look at it in a lot of different situations, and I don't envy Joe with this pick because, you're building right now in the immediate future. You have Aaron Rodgers coming back. Hopefully he's healthy and ready to give a full season. With that in mind, you want to give him weapons. You want to give him protection. So that's where you lean. But then at the same time, you got to know that, as much as we want Aaron around for another 20 years, it's not going to happen. So you got to think long term. And so to me, I'm a little biased. I'm always the offensive line is a great way to go because that's a long-term pick. However, I wouldn't be, if we pick up the Brock Bowers kid, I like that. That's a nice weapon. A tight end is a quarterback's best buddy. And so that would be good. A wide receiver, I feel, that might be a bit of a luxury. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
It is a huge debate. And then you mentioned the tight end, Brock Bowers. On one hand, here's a guy who broke so many records in college, was the best player on a national championship team. Yet we've seen the history of tight ends in the first round since 1990. Only 3 of them have even made it to an all-pro team. Your thoughts on just the inability of seemingly of NFL teams to accurately scout tight ends? Because, if teams do Travis Kelce or George Kittle or Sam Laporta were going to be as good as they were, they all would have been first-round picks.
Right. And so, I think that goes to overall general, like, why are we not scouting tight ends very well? And maybe tight ends take a little bit longer to develop, especially in the NFL, where there is a little bit more blocking. The pass routes and the catches are a little bit more advanced. So, you got to look at the scouting in general on that. But yeah, if you went back and you said any of those, the names that you said, you take them all in the first round, and you do it in a heartbeat. So, if you trust your scouting department and they do the homework, you go with it. And so I'm hopeful that, with the work that they put in, if they decide to go tight end, he's a kid that can be a game changer for us.
Nick, when you played, obviously, I'm not sure, how drastic. I'm sure it's significantly different practice time goes as far as the amount of time you're allowed out on the field. So if the Jets were to say take an offensive lineman, how beneficial do you think it would be where that guy maybe doesn't have to play right away and that guy has an opportunity to go out there and maybe sit and learn a little bit before eventually being thrusted into a starting role?
I mean, it would definitely be helpful. But I think, again, when we're talking about Penix and you're drafting a guy that's just going to sit, that's going to be tough. And so, if you're, especially the offensive line, you draft a guy in the first round, you expect him to start. That is the expectation. So, I think that would be a dangerous game to play for Joe Douglas at this point.
The Bears pick is in, and it's a guy that a lot of Jet fans wanted to see the team select. Rome Odunze, the wide receiver from Washington, the 3rd wide receiver selected in the first 9 picks of the draft. That is now locked in, and the Jets are on the clock, Nick. So here is their scenario. They could take the 2nd best offensive lineman. They could take Brock Bowers, or potentially they could trade. And breaking news, Nick, we got a trade. The Jets have made a trade with the Minnesota Vikings. They are moving back 1 spot. Oh, my goodness, the Jets are now on the clock. That's Joe Douglas music. The Jets have made a trade, Nick. They moved back one spot. It feels like the Vikings could be coming up here to get the last top consensus quarterback. That'd be J.J. McCarthy in theory. And the Jets maybe just picked up an extra pick or two for just moving back one spot for a player they could have had at 10 anyway.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the compensation is for this pick. To move back one spot, you don't assume it's big, but any extra capital we can get, I think, is a good thing.
I have just received the trade terms here. The Vikings are moving up to the number 10 spot, and they traded pick 203. The Jets picked up pick 129 and pick 157. So 2 additional picks for the New York Jets now to maybe wheel and deal if they wanted to, Nick, to use that in some trades to move up in the draft.
Yeah, I feel like those are a little low for moving back. I don't know. I would have liked to have seen something a little bit higher for one spot, but maybe they have a good feeling of who they're going to pick and didn't care anyway. So why not get the picks?
So that is a 4th and a 5th round pick for the Jets to move back one spot. So now the Jets have themselves 3 4th round picks, 1 5th round pick. That's enough for Joe Douglas, who likes to make trades, to make some more trades over the next couple of days here.
It is, but that's also, you can get some good meat in the draft in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. So it'll be interesting if he stays where it is or if he uses it as capital.
Now, Nick, do you have time to stay on and watch us in real time? Watch who the Jets pick here?
Unfortunately, I don't. I apologize for being late. My son at his lacrosse game got a little banged up, and so we were working with that. And so I apologize, but I probably should get back to him a little bit.
All right. Well, before you go, I got one clip I got to play for you because we need the Nick Mangold breakdown. So at the New York Rangers game just the other night, Nick Mangold was there, and you did what Nick Mangold does. Let me pull the clip up right here, and I want to get Nick Mangold's reaction to a beer chug that has since gone viral that included future Hall of Fame center, recently retired center, Jason Kelce weighing in. So this was Nick at the Ranger game the other night. Look at that right there.
It was
a
a good time. It's always fun, and it's always difficult too because you try to time the beer so it's not too fizzy and struggle with getting down the bubbles. But the Rangers were winning. It was a great game. They were moving their way up to 2-0 in the series, and so there's a lot of excitement. And when you can have a little sport with the fans and have a good time, it's always fun to take that opportunity.
Speaking of something that's fun, tell us about your awesome barbecue line. I've been using it. I've been trying it for years. I got it shipped down to Houston, where I previously lived before moving back to New York. The Mangold 74 barbecue sauce. Tell my audience where they can find it, Nick.
Yeah, you can find it online, and we get it out. And hopefully we will again be in the stadium for all home games where you can get a pulled pork sandwich with the barbecue sauce, which is pretty cool. And it's a neat little thing. The portion of the proceeds go to Answer the Call, which is a great charity here in New York that helps the families of fallen first responders in the line of duty. And we actually have their gala coming up May 2nd, or it's a soiree. I'm sorry, got to get the right terminology. Their soiree is May 2nd, where we can bring some of these families out and have try to celebrate the lives that were lost and raise money for this great cause, because they help out so many families, especially in today's day and age. We need to give back to the people who give the most. And so it's a joy to be associated with them and looking forward to their soiree.
Nick, I appreciate you joining us. It means a lot that you'd pop in what is our biggest broadcast of the entire offseason. So thanks so much for coming on, and hopefully I'll see you out at the facility soon.
Yep. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.